Hello, and how's it going today? I'm back with another movie review. And yes, I've been waiting so long to watch this movie. That movie is Saw X. I've been waiting so long for this movie. I'm not gonna lie though, I thought Saw the last chapter was the last one. Because it says last chapter. So why did they add another Saw in and call it Saw X and say this is the last one? I don't know if it is or not, but I hope it actually isn't going to be the last one. Because let me tell you, this movie right here, I loved it basically. I love all the Saw movies. This one had a bit of a different style to it though. I don't know what it was. It's that they just didn't have enough characters. And like the other Saws, there was a lot of characters, a lot of dialogue. There was more intense storylines going to it. The traps in this one are still brutal, but there wasn't enough. It's almost like they run out of ideas in this one. And this was a nearly 2 hour movie, like the other Saws have been. But this one here, I don't know what to describe it. It's like I just knew there was like I just knew how it was going to be sort of similar to something. I thought it was going to be good. Don't get me wrong. It was a good movie, but it needed to be a bit more in it. This would be quite a long, you know, talk about the movie. It's quite a long movie, so there's a lot of details in it. Now it starts off with John Kramer going to Mexico because he needs to get his operation for to remove the cancer from his brain, and he goes and talks to this nurse, and this nurse introduces him to a few people, and then they do the operation on him, and he wakes up to find out that they didn't actually operate on him. They were pretending to operate on him and get the money off him. And that was like and yeah, for the first half an hour it was pretty boring. There wasn't much happening. Still phenomenal actor. Anything that he says or does in the movie, John Kramer, and I don't know what his actual name is, but is the him in the movie is incredible. The way how he says his lines, he says like he's a mastermind basically. And that was after the first half an hour. Yeah, this is a bit too easy. There's no way Saw is going to be like this throughout the whole movie. Something has to go wrong, and it did. And he starts to get his assistant coming in. If you know who the assistant is, but I might will give a spoilers. So watch the movie first before watching this video. And he gets an assistant to kidnap people and all that, put them into these traps. The traps are still good, a bit brutal, not as brutal as the other traps in the previous Saw movies, but this one still had some brutality to it. And then there's a woman, Wonder Woman that was in on it. She had wires that can cut through skin, and she had to actually like cut through her leg, and her whole leg came off. She had to do all this in 3 minutes. Then she had to do the other leg, but she didn't have time to do it, and the thing just went through her neck. There was basically there was another trap where I think this guy was put in a chair, and I think he had to remove parts of his brain to put in like a jar of water, and then he could get a key out there to save his life. But he didn't do it, so so something closed him. I don't know what happened to him. If there was acid in there or something. I'm not quite sure what it was. And yeah, there's another woman where she had to where she was chained with one chain in her leg, another chain on her wrist, and she had to get like was it? I'm not really sure what weapon it was, like an axe or something like that. She had to really cut off the chain in the leg, which broke her leg. But because she was like there was radiation heating her up, and her skin was all droopy and whatnot. And then same for her arm, her wrist as well. She couldn't get that out intact, but she did, and she fell to the ground and stuff. But and then I thought those traps were pretty brutal, to be honest. I'll get more into what I think of the John Kramer doing all this stuff about his. But then there was this guy with a gun who I thought was another good actor, but I don't know what his name is, his actual name. But he came with a gun. And I was thinking, okay, fair enough. Then he was looking for this woman because he thought like, this woman actually was going to cure her. But then when John told him about this stuff, his name is Arthur Sears. You get to how I know that name after how I remember that name. And then he said, oh, I'm gonna kill and do whatever to and whatnot. They tied him up. Obviously, they chained him up, stuff like that. He had a gun. And I was like to myself, you know what? This sounds a little bit too easy. How he just came in. Now all of a sudden he's against her and talking about what he's going to her. Everybody knows that he would have grabbed the gun. Obviously, would have threatened to shoot him. John and there's his assistant. I'm gonna call him assistant. It's kind of strange, and yet as the movie gradually progressed, though, because this woman, this blonde nurse who told him to go to surgery said to oh, you're doing all this is not really right, and so to me I was thinking to myself that's hypocritical. You let a man die, you're gonna let him die anyway without pretending to operate on him. So How is that even there's double standards here? And to be fair, I'm gonna say how I feel about this. I don't blame John Kramer for setting up these traps for people because it's karma for them. Even though he's not doing it, even though he's not really like, it's not the best thing to do to actually teach them a lesson. I understand what he's doing because we all get angry if someone did something bad to us. We all want to take revenge on them somehow. Obviously, I wouldn't do this, but I understand why he had this in his head. And he said it's not for retribution; it's for like to teach him a lesson. It kind of is for retribution. I totally understand why he would do it, and I would understand that because they made him. They were going to make him suffer, and good job he found out about all of this because he could have been dead. And so this woman didn't care at all. She was like, "Yeah, this is how you do it. This is how you do it to people. That's awful. How could you?" And then the movie gradually progressed. I mean, the storyline's still good. It's just it wasn't as good as the other Saw movies where there was a lot more dialogue, a lot more detail. This one didn't have that much detail to it, but still good traps. And as Craven, his assistant, when Arthur Sears came out with the gun and says, get down there now, and he made a game or whatnot. Basically, the blonde nurse and this Arthur guy, they were trying to make him play his game, basically. Well, force him to. And then I found that really interesting. Plus, it's almost like, I don't know, you kind of knew there was more going on. There's always something at the end of these Saw movies, like a twist, where somebody's always in on it or he knows what the plan is going to be. That's why you don't really see Kramer panic, because he knows he's a mastermind. He's smarter than that, but these two didn't know at all. They just wanted the money and they just wanted to run. I kind of knew he was on the woman's side all along anyway. When he first came to, I was like, that's too easy. No, it's not where he would want to. He was always going to kill him anyway if he did see her like that without if they didn't chain him up. And so they made him like this. They chained him up. They chained the assistant up to. It's like this platform that goes up, levitates up. But I thought there was this one brutal part where the woman actually had to bring a boy from outside. I don't know how the boy got. I mean, who brought the boy there to begin with? That's what I want to know. Because they heard him kick the ball outside. I found that interesting. I found that really interesting. They brought the boy. I don't know where he came from. He didn't appear in the other scenes, that part. But what I was like, it's kind of brutal what they did to the boy here. I was like, it's kind of disturbing. Like, the other traps are disturbing, but this is when you bring in a kid involved. It's kind of brutal. And I did not expect to turn it like that. Though when they brought it, I was like, yeah, they're gonna do something here. So the boy was chained up to the other side, of his neck and stuff like that. And there was like the blood was pouring out, and the boy was, if the platform was in one way, that means that person that side would drown and whatnot. And yeah, I don't know. I found that part kind of brutal, but the boy actually was brave about it. To be fair, more brave than I would have been. I would have panicked. But yeah. So basically, the blonde nurse, blonde fake nurse, I should say, and this Arthur guy went up, and he wanted to collect their money, and he wondered to himself when he was meant to be on the last platform. That's a big question for me. I wouldn't know who was meant to be on that part. Was somebody meant to be on that part? This is the thing about Saw. There's so much what if, so much that you question it so many times that, oh my god, of course, right? And as soon as they took the bag out, they removed the bag. There was a 10-minute timer. And then I just knew, yeah, this is where we're going to hear how he actually figured all this out and what actually happened. And then they didn't have the money. It was all the list of patients that she blackmailed and she tricked. And she stole from. And there was this one scene where the woman was trying to call help on a phone. I think it was a Bowman, something like that. And this is how he reveals how he did it. He basically basically it was from a phone call where she was like, oh, please help me call. I think she was trying to call the police, but then it says Arthur Sears' name on the phone. And it showed one scene where John Kramer was on the phone before he had his operation, but they didn't show what the person said at the other end of the line. Because that's the thing, they would have given it away straight away. We would have known. So it leaves the viewers thinking, okay, how did he know all this then? I want to know. The bits and pieces I kind of knew, I kind of figured out tiny bit. I was like, wait a minute, yeah, who is this dude? That's when they became, and he found out about it was over the phone, and this detective said Arthur Sears. So he actually technically led Arthur Sears, and I think because he found out the phone call where she was from, and he went there. You would think he would have taken the person's phone first, wouldn't he? or whatever. So he obviously left it in the pocket for a reason. He knows. He set all this up anyway. He knows. Listen, I might be held hostage, or I might be putting a trap myself on one of these people. So you make sure you do this for me. And then automatically was like I think carbon monoxide gas or something like that was going around. And then there's one scene of this, like the assistant said, no, she will kill you, right? To get the money. If it comes down to it. And look what happened. They set up perfectly like that. They, I don't know why they just keep the guy chained up. Maybe it was part of his plan the entire time. I find that really smart. If I go into any more, this movie is very detailed. Even though there wasn't much detail in the movie, it's a very detailed movie. A lot goes on. It's probably the best horror movie that has the best storylines I've ever seen. Every single Saw movie, the storyline and dialogue is incredible. Like, yeah, there wasn't much happening as there was in the other Saw movies, but you know what? I enjoyed it. I wouldn't rate this one highly, but it's definitely above average, 100%. 2 or 3 ratings above average. And at the end, he's the one that had the money. You mean to tell me those two did not see any money lying around? They didn't bother looking for it? That's the thing. He knows what they were going to do. That's why he's set up that way. It wasn't gonna be that easy for him just to like kill the blonde. I don't know why he didn't just kill the blonde one first. She was the one that set this whole thing up. You think why not set her up? But he's trying to play a game was to see who, to see their plan, to see their game went according to plan. It's very complicated. If I explain it more, it's going to rack my brain here. But I tell you what, I loved it. I love when he reveals things. I was like, oh right, of course. Not in the other Saw movies, they revealed a lot more how he did these things. They revealed a lot how they set up the traps and stuff. So they didn't do it in this one, which I was disappointed with. But I gotta say, I mean, wow, it's a great movie. It's a shame it's the last one. I mean, they might be making more, but I doubt it. I heard this is the last Saw. I thought they were going to do one where he actually dies in it, or where the whole place just blows up, which would have made more sense. But they left the blonde woman alive. I don't know if just make her suffer, but she might have been suicide. I don't know what that. Yeah, so it shows how he done it. Shows how he figured everything out. I would never have guessed it, to be honest. Still brutal, but you know what? If I had to give this a rating, I wish I could talk about the movie more. I really would, but this movie's so detailed. I've never seen a movie that's so detailed. Usually in other horror movies, you get scenes of like jump scares or distilled through horror, scary scenes in it. Not much to explain, not much dark. The dialogue happens in movies, of course, but not as much to talk about as in Saw, because it's so detailed. You got so many traps. You got so many characters. You got so many storylines. So much dialogue happening. It's crazy. Everything on cheap jump scares, which I understand why they do it, but it's not scary jump scares. But it's just I don't know. I don't think it was needed to do that, to be honest. But I see why they did that for the thrills, basically. And Saw gets me thrilled. It really does. I was excited to watch this movie, and I'm glad I did. If I had to give this a rating, though, it's not. It doesn't deserve a 10. It's not the greatest Saw movie I've ever seen out of the lot. It's not the greatest horror movie I've seen. I mean, it's the greatest set of horror movies I've seen. But this one in particular, there wasn't many characters in this as I've seen the other ones. The traps, the odd few traps, but not a lot. There's a lot of dialogue obviously that happens, but the other ones is more traps, a bit more variety in what was going on with different characters. And this one is just so simple, straightforward. I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. I had a rating like this in my head anyway. I don't think it's a 6. I think that's a bit harsh to give it a 6. I think it's either 7 or 8 out of 10. I feel like a 7 out of 10 is just above average. I think it's above average there, but not just above. I think it's there being a good movie. I think it's good, but it needed a bit more to it. But I loved it. 7, I think 7 out of 10 is reasonable rating to give it out of. So if you enjoyed this movie, please give it a like, comment below, share with everybody you know, subscribe and hit the bell notification bell. I'll see you in my next video.